For me, tapping was the first somatic piece that I really had. I was working in research and a lot of stress and in the job, and I was also, every year I would go and I would do spiritual retreats, and so we would then stay in touch with the people within that retreat and be talking with each other. And at one point I posted to the group and said, you know, there was this really unfair thing that happened to me 2 years ago. You know, it was really unfair, but the problem is I can't get past it. It wakes me up at night. I'm still angry. I'm still resentful. I still can't look that person in the face and be natural and be proactive. And one of the people that was on the board just posted me a little link and said, and this was in the very, very early days of tapping, and said, go to that website, do that weird little process, and tell us what happened. And so I did. It was, so I ended up spending maybe about 20 minutes of just ranting. It was so unfair. They said this, and then they said this, and doing the tapping process, and, you know, really getting into it. I can just, oh, it was so unfair. And then just sort of finding, it was unfair. Man, it was stupid. And I so walked into it, you know, and then I found that sort of a good 20 minutes, I got to a place where it's sort of like, I don't care anymore. And then I sort of realized, oh my goodness, this is cool. And then started following people using it for bee stings and for, you know, all kinds of physical, emotional pain, worries, fears, and sort of just began following the blog of the guy who developed this and how he used it with things. And of course, as with many people, that gave us ideas on what we do and started using it for everything, as he said then. He then learned to later modify that and said, only go where you're regulated. But at the beginning, it was use it on everything. And it works on so many things, you know. It's emotional and physical discomfort because they're so linked. There are, as in traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture, there are lines of energy that run through the body, the meridian system. And the meridian system of energy in the body, when we get upset, we tighten up. And some of those tightnesses are held and discomforts are held in that energy system. And those energy lines in the body, there are places on the body where it runs right by the surface of the body and right by a bone. So that when you tap on that very specific spot, it's just loosening up that particular energy line. And so there's this series of points that we tap on, and between them they sort of cover each of the major meridian lines in the body. And when it was first developed, the original developer sort of put a lot of work into talking and working with someone to figure out where's the blockage, and then we'll know which spot to tap on. And then Gary Craig, who developed it as EFT, took a different approach. He put a lot more work into how do we explore to find the pain, and let's not worry about which one. We just continue to tap them all, and one way or another we're going to catch the difficulty. So we just, and then another important concept for tapping is just that sometimes we're our own worst enemy. Our energy system is not really clear, and we kind of want to make a change and we kind of don't. And so there's one area that just sort of tapping on the side of the hand here sort of loosens up that kind of resistance to change. And so we spend some time just tapping on the spot here and exploring, you know, even though I'm really upset about this thing that my partner said, I'm really upset about it. These are some of the thoughts. When I think about it, I can feel a tightness in my shoulders because he was late again and he just didn't even own up to it, whatever the thing is, but just getting into it in some detail. And I was worried. And as he was getting later, I found myself feeling this and really exploring the thoughts. I can feel it in my chest. It feels a tightness. And you put a number to it so that we can keep track. You know, this, my upset about this is a 5 out of 0 to 10. You know, I can feel it to that extent. And these are the thoughts and these are the emotions. My emotion is, I was a little scared. I was scared something happened. I was scared that, you know, what am I going to do? These are just my thoughts. And bring acceptance to it. And I love and accept myself. Or the closest someone can come. Sometimes they're in a difficult place and they can say, I know I'm a good person. So bringing in the best acceptance you can. And then just reminding yourself of all of that. You know, this scared, upset feeling that my partner was late. You know, I was really feeling the upset. I was feeling some sadness. I was worried what was going on. We had places to be. We had places to go. It was upsetting to me. I can just feel it in my chest. And more thoughts. And maybe even as I now start to work with it a little bit, I know that I'm upset and a little scared, but I'm also frustrated and ticked off. There's a little bit more of it starts to come up. You recognize there's even other things here. And you can just notice very often the feelings will just start to shift. My body starts to relax. That feeling that is here. And you just keep reminding, I was upset. I still can feel it in there. I can feel it's going on. I was worried about it. I don't want it to be there. I'm worried. And then we just take a breath and tune back into it again. And that's often where we'll find, you know, usually then things shift. And often it doesn't totally disappear. We'll go, okay, well, I am feeling calmer. And yeah, I was worried, but now it just feels like that was kind of disrespectful and I should talk about it, or maybe I know I was just getting overly reactive and, you know, he had something that came up and that's totally understandable. You start to just be able to get a better, deeper perspective on it. Often it brings up the next round of thing that we need to work on. The next piece of, you know, now I'm a little bit ticked off and I'm a little bit upset and I still have this a little bit, but now I'm feeling a little tight here. And often it's 2 or 3 rounds that you would work through those feelings, each time going back, clearing, tapping through, noticing the feelings, and then see where it goes. Yeah.